Let's do this.
Holy jeez.
This is bad.
The 9-ring broadsword. The 9-ring broadsword is a variant on the Chinese dao from the Qing dynasty that was used through the 1930s. Featuring a blade wider than a traditional dao and a curve towards the tip, the weapon was ideal for chopping and could sever a head with a single swing. The rings on the back of the blade serve dual purposes: for ornamentation used during ceremonies or martial arts displays, and for superstitious reasons, as it was believed the jingling sound would ward off evil spirits. This deadly and sacred sword can be seen on the television show Into the Badlands.
Bladesmiths, you have our gratitude. Gentlemen, your swords look magnificent, but are they deadly? To find that out, we will take your swords and deliver some killing blows on this pig carcass. It's all about the kill in this particular test. Burton, you are first. Are you ready, sir?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this.
Well, there it went. Goodness, look at that.
All right, Burton, first up, what I love about this blade was the balance, the way I was able to move with the blade everywhere. Now let's talk about the breakage. Okay, so the break happened right there where the ring was attached. You can see it's really not a bad coarse crutcher you have there. It could be finer, but rings, when you're digging into that, could cause stress risers. And it broke right there where the ring was.
Well, gentlemen, the fight's not over, because Mike, your blade still has to survive 9 strikes on its kill test target. Good luck, gentlemen. Doug?
If I make it through 9 strikes on this pig, I'm Forged in Fire champion. My palms are sweating. I'm so scared that this thing's gonna break on the first swing.
Good job, bro.
Burton, unfortunately, your blade broke and can no longer continue with testing, and for that reason, I have to dismiss you from the forge. Dude, good job, brother.
I appreciate it, man.
Sucks.
Dude, man, gorgeous weapon. Thank you, man. Seeing my blade break, it's a disappointment. You know, when you make it to round 3, you want to win. You know, the 9 holes burnt through 4 drill bits doing them, so somewhere through there, I probably was given a little too much pressure and caused the stress riser to run down that blade. That was enough to cause a critical failure in that blade. I'm still proud of myself with what I've done. You know, it was way out of my wheelhouse. What's next for me is not swords, especially any 9-ring swords. That's for damn sure.
Mike, congratulations. The strength and integrity of your blade has made you a Forged in Fire champion, and that's a title that comes with a check for $10,000. Good job, brother.
I won Forged in Fire. Holy crap, man.
Come on forward and shake our hands, my friend.
Thank you.
Good job, brother.
Thank you. With some of the things that went wrong in my home forge, I was really sure that that blade was gonna break on me. Yeah, it's a happy dance. Do it the other day.
The Tuareg Takouba.
The Takouba is a type of broadsword that has been used by the nomadic Tuareg people of North Africa since the 14th century. This double-edged lightweight blade was carried for self-defense on long journeys, designed to deliver lethal slashes and stabs against a rival warrior. Due to the Tuareg's aversion to iron, there is no exposed steel or iron on the hilt of this sword, so it cannot touch the user's hand. Measuring more than a meter long, this deadly weapon was seen as a symbol of wealth. Some members of the Takouba clan still carry this weapon today.
Bladesmiths, welcome to the keel test. Your Tuareg Takoubas look beautiful, but the kind of beauty I'm looking for is the lethal kind. I'm going to take your weapon, deliver some lethal blows on this ballistics dummy. Dustin, you're up first. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this. All right, Dustin, let's talk about your weapon here. First up, your handle construction. I like the ovoid feel of this. The flare you have there in your pommel actually gives great retention for this. Your tip is sharp enough to penetrate. Your edges are sharp when you're cutting out, and you can wield this to do that kind of damage on this ballistics dummy. Overall, sir, a weapon like this, it will kill.
Awesome.
All right, Joshua, your turn. You ready?
Keep everyone alive.
All right, let's do this. All right, Joshua, let's talk about your weapon here. Your pommel right here could have used some weight to it, but because it's forward weighted and the fact that you have a very sharp edge, every slice that you can see is very deep into the ballistics dummy. And more importantly, sir, your weapon, it will kill.
All right, gentlemen, it's time for the strength test. Our desert well chop. Now, to test the strength and overall construction of your blades, I will be chopping into our well house, as well as the well. And Dustin, you're on deck. You ready?
I guess so.
Okay. All right, we were doing so well for a moment there. What actually happened was, with insetting your blade down into this piece of wood, any of that leverage was just too much for the wood itself, and it popped it loose. Your tang is a little bit small, but what I do like to see is that your blade actually held up beautifully. I mean, your grain structure looks fine. This is an absolutely brutal test. So very well done.
Thank you. Now, Dustin, you survived every one of the strikes except for the last one. Your guard gave way and your blade followed. So we consider this a catastrophic failure. Cannot continue testing your blade, but you're not out of the fight yet. How you feeling, Joshua?
Pressure's on.
All right, so you need to survive 5 strikes in order to be named Forged in Fire champion. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do it. Well, Joshua, your blade is strong. It made it past all the strikes. Congratulations. Now, Dustin, unfortunately for you, that means your time here in this competition has ended because you did have a catastrophic failure. It was an honor watching you in our forge, but unfortunately, man, at this time, I'm gonna have to ask you to please step off our forge floor.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
I'm definitely crushed. I actually thought that recessing the sword into the tang a little bit would make it stronger, and that's kind of what bit me in the end, so definitely won't be doing that again. I'm definitely proud of this blade. I came here to challenge myself as much as I could, and I definitely achieved that.
Well, Joshua, congratulations, man. That means you are the newest Forge and Fire champion. You just got yourself a check for $10,000. Congratulations.
Yeah! Oh my gosh, I made a sword. It didn't break. Oh my gosh. It was a hard competition, so this is unreal.
The Polish Carabella.
One of Europe's most iconic sabers, the Carabella was a sidearm of history's most fearsome cavalry, the winged hussars. These 17th century warriors, famed for their feathered armor and sophisticated attack formations, brandished the sword on horseback when closing in on the enemy. The saber's light, curved blade slashed easily through enemy armor. Its hilt often included fixtures that improved grip and recovery, like a thumb ring, chain guard, or curved eaglehead pommel. The Carabella was so effective at helping the hussars defeat enemy armies much larger in size that it became a symbol of prestige worn by Polish-Lithuanian nobility at formal events. Its legacy lives on in the video game series Witcher.
Bladesmiths, this is the kill test to see what kind of lethal damage your weapon will do. I will take your weapon, deliver some slashes and thrusts on this pig carcass. Ethan, you're up first. You ready?
I am so ready.
All right. How'd it feel? First up, there are no issues whatsoever with your edge over here. It is sharp. It lacerates and cuts cleanly. Look at that. Razor cuts right there. On the thrust, you have an angle here that allowed for a deep thrust, pulling out and slashing on the way out. Overall, your weapon will kill. All right, Leon, your turn. You ready?
Oh yeah, let's do it. So many things can go wrong. I don't even know if I was able to get a good solid temper on this blade.
Well, Liam, let me say this. First up, your presence here is a victory. All the things that you went through, and you still turned in a blade that's beautiful in craftsmanship, that is very sharp, but your blade did break. And you can see right here in the cross-section, there's a discoloration down here. So something happened in your heat treating process. It may have microfractures. It is what it is.
Liam, there was a flaw in your blade that led to a catastrophic blade failure, and we can no longer continue with testing. For that reason, I have to ask you to please leave the forge.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'm upset. Sometimes the best you can do isn't going to be enough, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't still try.
Ethan, this is a competition where the best blade wins, and you, sir, are our new Forged and Fire champion, and that's a title that comes with a check for $10,000. Good job.
I really would have liked to have seen both of those go all the way through testing, but I'm very proud of the work I did. I'm now a Forged and Fire champion.
Attila the Huns, Sword of Mars.
Yes.
Known as the Scourge of God, Attila the Hun was one of the most feared conquerors in history. The leader of the Hunnic Empire, his group of nomadic tribes wreaked havoc across Europe during the 5th century. Though he was once a great ally to them, he plagued Roman territories, sacking major cities like Constantinople. Legend states that Attila was given the Sword of Mars by a herdsman, fulfilling a prophecy and a direct sign from the Roman war god Mars of his divine rule. The lethal weapon featured a curved handle with a spear point tip that gave it exceptional control, allowing for accurate and brutal thrusts. After Attila's death in the year 453, the Hunnic Empire quickly dissolved. However, the story of Attila's many conquests still live on through the television miniseries, Attila.
All right, bladesmiths, to find out what kind of lethal damage your weapon will do, I will deliver killing blows on this ballistics dummy. Randy, you're up first. You ready?
I am.
Let's do this. All right, Randy, let's talk about your Sword of Mars here. First up, the Damascus pattern you have here is gorgeous.
Thank you.
The weapon design is very aggressive for thrusting and slashing. Now your handle construction. If you reverse this, it'll be easier to have something to lock onto. The fact that the flare is right here, forcing my hand to open up if I want to marry into the hilt. This is a very sharp weapon. The tip pierces all the way through, cuts on the way out. It's pointy and scary, and it will kill.
Thank you.
Good job. All right, Dan, it is your turn. You ready?
Hell yeah.
Let's do this.
I was hoping the kill test would be a dummy. I know heads will roll.
All right, Dan, let's talk about your weapon here. I love the balance of your blade. When I go forward, it's not hard to pull back to go in again for another kill. Now, your handle construction. It's curved enough to where it doesn't want to fly out of my hand. It's got a good grip and control for this. Your edge allows for very deep cuts into the abdomen right there. The only issue we have is that your tip picked up a bend when it's chopped into the spine. But your weapon, sir, will kill.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, it's time for the strength test. Now, Attila's armies were basically one large cavalry. And through his military campaigns, he revolutionized the use of horse in military conflicts. So to test the strength and durability of your blades, I'll be chopping into these horse skulls. Randy, you're up first. You ready?
I guess so.
Okay, so right off the bat, the biggest thing is that this section from right about here to here has lost its edge. There's a couple of small rolls. Blade's still straight. It's all in one piece, still solid. Nicely done. It's a very strong blade.
Thank you.
All right, Dan, are you ready?
No, but let's do it.
Everybody says that. Okay, so before we get to the obvious, I really like the design of your blade. It's got a great weight to it, had a really good feel in my hand. The balance was really nice. See all that space around your tang? With that room for that blade to move inside the guard, it could just create so much stress that it cut loose right there at the corner. If it were all tight, there wouldn't be any stress. There's no discoloration here, so it's not that there was a crack here before. Your grain structure looks fine. It was a well-designed piece, but obvious flaw.
Dan, unfortunately, your blade suffered a catastrophic failure in the middle of our strength test. which means that we can no longer test it. I'd like to invite you to shake our hands, shake your competitor's hand, and then please leave the forge.
It hurts, but my sword breaking, it's gonna be a reminder that I have to push harder and be better.
Randy, the strength and efficiency of your weapon in the kill test have earned you the title of Forged in Fire champion and a check. For how much?
$10,000.
That's right, $10,000. Good job, brother.
I won Forged in Fire. It's reality.
How do you feel?
Good. To be a champion and be recognized as a good bladesmith is real good. This is my happy and excited face.
Well done, sir.
Thank you. If you didn't recognize it.
The Sodegarami.
Holy jeez. Oh my God.
One of the most intimidating and versatile Japanese pole weapons, the Sodegarami was part of the key arsenal for samurai police during the 17th century. Featuring lethal spikes and hooks, police were able to capture violent offenders from a distance by using the weapon to latch onto the suspects, stopping them in their tracks. Although primarily used in defense, the sharp spikes along with the spiked butt cap made it a menacing and brutal weapon when in combat. Today, the Sodegarami's devastating use can be seen in the HBO television series Westworld.
All right, bladesmiths, welcome to the kill test. To find out what kind of lethal damage your Sodegarami will do, I will take your weapons and stab and try to snag this ballistics dummy. Rita, you're up first. You ready for this?
Hi.
All right, let's do this. All right, Rita, let's talk about your Sodegarami. The tines you have here penetrates. The hook you have here will rip this person apart. And more importantly, your weapon will kill. All right, Justin, your turn. You ready to have fun?
Yes, sir.
All right, Justin. The tines you have here, it's more of a stabbing tine rather than a grabbing. And this is a grabbing weapon. But that hook does grab onto that. Overall, sir, your weapon will kill.
All right, bladesmiths, it's time for the strength test, the dreaded ice block chop. Remember, this is not about what these weapons do to the ice blocks, about what those ice blocks do to your weapons. And Rita, you're up first. You get points for theme, I mean. You ready? It doesn't matter, right?
No, it doesn't matter.
All right, Rita, got a little bit more of a bend in this one tine here, but everything else is pretty much the way it was going in. Definitely held up, did its job. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, Justin, your turn. You ready?
Yes, I am.
All right, so You survived the strength test. This is a very strong, well-built head for this, but it's built more like a spear than it is for catching. I mean, I'm not sure how effective it would be at snagging the opponent, but it's a devastator. It certainly did the job. Good job.
All right, bladesmiths, welcome to the sharpness test, the Sandman, pierce and capture. To test the sharpness, I will take your weapon, pierce, and try to control this Sandman. Rita, you're up first. You ready for this?
Yeah.
All right, Rita, the points you have on your tines here definitely penetrate when you thrust into that, but it doesn't slice on the way out or capture as well as it should. Your hook over here did its job. Overall, it will cut and control. All right, Justin, your turn. So you ready?
Yes, I am. Oh. That's not good.
He pulled it out of the socket. Well, Justin, we have a problem.
Yes, sir.
This wasn't pinned, was it?
No.
The impact from all these tests loosened it up. And of course, it came off.
Justin, you brought in a beautifully crafted weapon. However, you've suffered a catastrophic failure in our final test. And unfortunately, you cannot be our Forged in Fire champion.
Congratulations, Rita.
Thank you.
Awesome. Coming on Forged in Fire, I put my all into it, and I feel like I made a good weapon, but just came up short on a little bit of the fit and finish, and other than that, I'm happy with it.
Rita, congratulations. You are the Forged in Fire champion, and that is the title that comes with a check for $10,000. Congratulations. How do you feel right now? Come on forward and shake our hands. Good job.
It's been a very positive and uplifting experience to be able to do something amazing like this. I hope this will help me become an inspiration to kids, because I can say, look, if you see something and you want to try it, give it a try. Hey, Weeblos, your scout leader is the new Forged in Fire champion. I'm bringing it home. Can I have a group hug, please? Thank you, you guys. Oh, my God.
The Jian. The Jian sword first appeared in China all the way back in the 7th century BC. Wisely designed, the sharp, lethal tip was ideal for rapid cuts and stabs, while the wide body aided in deflecting attacks. Considered an elite weapon due to the amount of training needed to master the sword, the straight double-edged blade was built for subtle instant strikes, requiring a level of precision and finesse that only comes from a true swordsman. Because it was so difficult to master, the Jian was removed en masse from the battlefield. However, many are still involved in ceremonies and featured in films, including Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
All right, bladesmiths, welcome to Kill Test. Now, your Jian swords look beautiful, but are they deadly? Well, to find that out, I will take your weapon and do some slashes and thrusts on this ballistic dummy. Vince, you're up first. You ready?
For hell.
All right, Vince, let's talk about your Jian Sword up here. Overall, I like the aesthetics of this sword. Now, your handle construction is within scale of this blade. It's comfortable when I wrap around it. Now, your edge is razor sharp. In thrusting, it cuts out, and when you swing, you can feel the impact of this sword. Overall, sir, it'll kill.
Wanted to hear that.
Good job. Hey, Casey, you got the stomach for this? You're next.
I'm ready.
All right, Casey, let's talk about your Jian Sword here. First up, I like the lines that you have with your sword here and the Damascus pattern. I can appreciate that. And now, in cutting, it was so much fun just to be able to slice over and over and over with ease with a blade that moves. This, sir, will kill.
Thank you.
Bladesmiths, welcome to the strength test. Now, to test the edge-holding ability of your blades and the overall strength and construction, I'm going to take each of your swords and smash them repeatedly into these heavy pots. Now, I'm not really concerned what your blades do to the pots, even though it's going to look really cool and be a lot of fun. I want to see what the pots are going to do to your blades and edges. Vince, you're up first. You ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Vince, I gotta tell you, it's a great blade. I mean, where I was striking is still sharp, still straight and true. But the problem is, doing your pommel, your threads here didn't go very far through. So, pommel broke loose. Bit of a problem.
Vince, your blade has suffered a catastrophic failure after 3 shots on the pots. A pommel is critical to a one-handed weapon's retention, but that doesn't mean that this competition is over. Casey, these are some pretty strong terracotta pots, and you'll have to survive 3 pot shots to make it out of here.
I feel ready.
All right, Jay, you ready?
If the pots can knock off the pommel, they could do anything. It all comes down to this. I've got a little bit of knots in my stomach. We'll see what happens.
Looks good.
Casey, congratulations, your blade survived. Vince, unfortunately, you cannot continue testing. Please exit the forge.
I'm disappointed. I think I made a hell of a blade. It was still sharp after the 3 terracottas, but the blade needs to be 100%. Mine was 98%, and it failed.
Casey, congratulations. You are the Forged in Fire champion, and that's a title that comes with a check for 10,000 big ones, buddy. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The deed is done, and I won.
Great steel and a great job on the handle, too.
I've proven to myself that I can make a damn good blade. For me, that's nothing better.
The Sword of Gujian. The Sword of Gujian is an exquisitely crafted Jian sword wielded by King Gujian, ruler of China's Kingdom of Yu. After brutal battles between the Yu and the Wu, King Gujian was forced into slavery in exchange for sparing his people. After 3 years of servitude, King Gujian rebuilt his empire, conquered the dwindling Kingdom of Wu, and was bestowed this sword. Featuring a sharp lethal tip, intricate blue crystal, and turquoise guard, the sword was just as ornate as it was deadly. More than 2,500 years later, the sword was discovered by archaeologists in a remarkable condition. Still, with a razor-sharp edge, it has been called one of the most intact artifacts ever found.
Bladesmiths, welcome to the kill test. To find out what kind of lethal damage your weapon will do according to its historic design, I will take your weapon, deliver some killing thrusts and blows on this ballistic dummy. Forrest, are you up for this?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this. All right, Forrest, let's talk about your weapon here. And it's very forward heavy. What makes it hard to handle is the fact that you have a very skinny handle right here. A lot of these movements, your blade, when upon contact, was spinning in my hand. I had to adjust several times to make sure that I stay on the edge over here. Now, the edge is sharp. Once it makes contact and you slash, it digs deep. Overall, sir, you'll kill. All right, Caleb, you're up. You ready?
I see it.
All right, Caleb, first up, the blade in itself, balance-wise, I think you nailed it. Now, your handle construction, it's ovoid, it's actively comfortable because of the balance and a very sharp edge. All the cuts are very, very deep. Overall, sir, it'll kill.
Bladesmiths, welcome to the strength test, the gong chop. Test the strength and durability of your edges as well as the overall construction of your swords of Gujian. I'm going to be chopping them into these gongs. Forrest, you're up first. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Well, Forrest, your sword did take some damage on the edge. There's some rolls sort of crushed in right here. Your handle is really small. A bigger handle would have helped me control this really well. But all that being said, that much damage in a big strength test like this, well done.
Thank you.
All right, Caleb, you're up. You ready?
Heck yeah, man.
Well, Caleb, you did a great job with the Damascus. I love to see this kind of stuff. It's beautiful. Your blade is still straight true, and the weight on this is phenomenal. There is one big issue, though. Your handle. It's loose now. Your handle is coming apart. I can move it. And their pommel is also loose. If these were right and tight and held in place, then it tends to help everything else stay where it is. But just a little bit of play in this guard can send shockwaves right down the handle. But gotta say, that's one heck of a blade.
Thank you.
Just,
thank you.
You know, this handle that's really causing the issue now.
Yes, sir.
So we've got a pretty mobile opening that has a corresponding split on the backside of the handle.
Not only is it loose, but the material that's loose has sharp edges.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this would require either taping that up or wearing a glove. And now we're not testing the same as the other one.
Okay. Ben?
It's a gorgeous sword. I think the handle's gone.
Dave, final?
Kills me. Yeah.
Doug?
I agree.
Now, we've continued with blades that had loose parts before. We've continued with blades that had split handles before.
Your handle has cracked.
However, the combination of the two things has made your blade unsafe to continue with any testing, and therefore you cannot be our Forged in Fire champion. I'd like to invite you to shake our hands, shake your competitor's hand, and then I have to ask you to please leave the forge.
I may not be the Forged in Fire champion, but man, I'm walking out of here with my head held high, and I'm proud.
Forrest, congratulations. You are the Forged in Fire champion, and that is a title that comes with a check for $10,000, my friend. Good job. I'm on forward.
I'm thrilled that I'm the champion. It hasn't even soaked in yet, and next day or two, I'll really realize what's happened. Being a Forged in Fire champion means that I succeeded in the goal that I wanted to reach. This is for everyone at home, and I'm coming home a Forged in Fire champion. Yeehaw!
The Jumanji Yari. Originating in the 1500s, the Jumanji Yari was carried by Japanese soldiers known as the Ashigaru. These peasant foot soldiers relied on the long-shafted spear for its reach and versatility in combat. Using the weapon's double-edged crossbars to disarm and pull mounted samurai from their horses, the Ashigaru could then employ the razor-sharp central blade to fatally skewer the fallen enemy, and all from a comfortable distance. Today, video game enthusiasts can unleash the Jumanji Yari's devastating capabilities in the game Shadow Fight 2.
The Yari, with its long handle and multi-pronged spear, makes it a trifecta of points and edges in a deadly weapon. To see what kind of lethal damage your weapon will do, I will take your Yari and deliver multiple slashes and thrusts on this pig carcass. Fuad, you're up first. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready. Oh, Jesus.
All right, Fuad, let's talk about your Yari here. We felt that it had very good balance to it, that on the initial slash right here, it dug into flesh, then it hit the spine. The transference of energy hit a weak spot into your handle over here, but it still had a secondary cut all the way through. I would consider your blade a kill.
Thank you. It was, mine was beautiful, well made, and some wood grain, just, you know.
Fuad, your weapon suffered a catastrophic failure. Now, that's bad. However, you're not out of this competition yet. Jacob, your Yari still must perform in this kill test. Let's see what happens.
Right now, I'm feeling nauseous. My heart's pounding in my chest, my hands are sweaty, and just can't wait to see how it actually goes down.
All right, Jacob, let's talk about your Yari. In the initial swing, instead of being able to cut cleanly with this part to cut through, this got in the way with the angle that it had. But let's talk about these particular blades. They are sharp enough to penetrate into the pig carcass. The thrust is really devastating and very deep into that. Your handle construction, it stayed true. No issues at all. Overall, your weapon will kill.
Thank you, sir. My Yari held up, and I'm just, thank you, God.
Well, Fuad, the blades of your Yari were beautifully constructed. The overall weapon was very elegant. However, your shaft broke in our first test, and we cannot move forward in this competition because that is a catastrophic weapon failure. And I have to ask you to please leave the forge.
I was really confident going into the competition, and I felt like my Yari was gonna really perform a lot better than Jacob's, and it's just pure irony all the way down.
Jacob, you are the Forged in Fire champion and will be receiving a check for $10,000. Good job. How do you feel right now?
I feel amazing. I came here to prove that I can actually come out here at 19 and compete with serious knife makers. Thank you, sir. Really, I would have liked to beat Fuad in a different way, but I'm Forged in Fire champion at $10,000. It's awesome.
The Spanish Navaja. Rising to popularity in the 1600s, the Spanish Navaja was a deadly folding weapon, common in duels and street brawls. This blade could be folded into the handle and locked in place, making it easy to conceal. It featured a locking ratchet mechanism, which kept the blade in place. The ratchet sound of a Navaja opening was also used to intimidate foes. Wielded with the blade up, a strike from the Navaja was difficult to parry, and wounds were often fatal. Navajas were often inscribed with pithy phrases in Spanish, boasting about the deadliness of the blade.
The Spanish Navaja, an iconic folding weapon from history. It's even said to influence the American Bowie knife. To see what kind of lethal damage your weapon will do, we'll take your Spanish Navaja and deliver killing blows on this deer carcass. Matthew, you're up first. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Matthew, nice and solid work right here, but I'm still recovering from an injury. So please welcome Anthony Palmer. Anthony is one of the chief instructors of Muay Thai. Today, he will have the pleasure of wielding your Spanish Navaja.
My biggest concern going into testing is the sharpness of my blade.
Your blade is beautiful, and it's also solid in its feel. It lacerates easily. You can see it chopped right through the spine. Now, one of the pieces here came flying out during the test. But in terms of the sharpness and the wieldability of your blade, it will kill.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Wade, it's your turn. You ready?
You bet.
At least, Wade, I can hear the mechanism working in there.
The thud of that deer carcass hitting the floor is absolutely the sound of $10,000. I feel like I'm ahead. That's where I want to be. I want to win it.
All right, Wade, your blade is sharp.
Thank you.
The one issue is it's kind of rickety here, even while it was being wielded. But despite being rickety, it's deadly and it will kill.
Thank you.
Next up is a strength test. Ben?
To test the strength and durability of your edge, as well as the overall construction, I'm gonna smash into this bamboo with your Spanish Navajas. Matthew, you're up first. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Matthew, this thing's one hell of a chopper. Held together beautifully. There was slight glinting that happened up here near the tip, but it's pretty darn sharp. Very well done.
Thank you.
Wade, you're up next. You ready?
Yeah. I'm ahead, he's ahead, I'm ahead, he's ahead. We've been this way the whole time. It's a battle. I want to win it.
Now it's broken.
Well, Wade, we have a problem. On about the third strike, things started to get kind of loose, and that torquing and the stress made your scales pop off. The only thing holding the cutting end to the handle end are these thin brass sheets, and I don't have confidence in their strength. This blade has lost its structural integrity. It's no longer safe to test.
Wade, due to the catastrophic failure of the structural integrity of your weapon, we cannot continue testing that blade. So I have to ask you to please leave the forge.
I thought I could beat down a door with that thing, but, you know, apparently you can't.
Matthew, congratulations. You are the Forge and Fire champion, and that's a title that comes with a check for 10 grand. Good job.
I just won Forge and Fire, and I am so excited. Being here as a winner means a lot to me. I've had so much support throughout my life to do what I am passionate about, and my passion has proven to be what I should be doing. I'm supposed to be a metal worker. Stay with it. Don't stop. Keep going.
That is a Masai lion spear. The Masai lion spear gets its name from an East African tribe of fearsome warrior nomads that date their origins back to the 15th century. Traditionally used to hunt lions, the weapon features a double-edged blade at one end and a fearsome spike at the other. This allows a Masai warrior to engage his opponent in close quarters or at a distance. While today lion hunts have been replaced, the deadly spear lives on in popular culture and can even be spotted in the film Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life.
To see how lethal your weapon is, I will take your spear and deliver lethal blows on this big carcass. Matt, you're up first. Are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Let's do this.
What I'm most worried about is lateral force on this spear because it's a very thin, sleek spear. Well, that sucks.
Matt, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is bad. Your weapon has suffered a catastrophic failure and cannot continue with testing. However, John, we can't just declare you the Forged and Fire champion. Your blade has to hold up for at least a stab and a slash on this carcass. Doug?
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to think. I've never been more, nervous in my life. I'm hoping and praying that it doesn't break in the same spot.
Bladesmiths, as they're designed, these tests push your weapons to the limit. John, your blade survived the 2 cuts on our carcass. Matt, that means, unfortunately, your blade did not make the cut. I have to ask you to please leave the forge.
Congrats, man. I'm happy for you. I'm disappointed. Given what I know now, I would have gone back and really tried chopping some things very hard with the spear and hopefully broken the handle myself. I'm really happy for John. Maybe I'm not happy to lose to John, but I'm glad John won.
John, congratulations. You built a weapon that held up in our test. That makes you our new Forged and Fire champion, who also receives a check for 10 grand. How do you feel right now?
I feel like $1 million, but I guess 10 grand will do.
All right, well, come on over here and shake our hands.
Good job, bud.
Thank you.
Very good.
I'm gonna have to talk to my wife about what I'm allowed to do with this prize money. I know one thing, my baby girl's gonna get in a little new wardrobe.
The Scottish claymore. The claymore was used by Scottish mercenaries in battle from the 15th to 17th century. The weapon, usually 55 inches in length, would have to be held with both hands, and swordsmen were unable to carry a shield. symbolizing fearlessness on the battlefield. The clansman would swing the sword in figure-8 movements, decapitating and dismembering adversaries. Legend has it that Scottish knight William Wallace used a claymore in the War for Scottish independence. This epic weapon has been immortalized in the classic movie Braveheart.
Bladesmiths, this is the kill test. The term claymore in Gaelic means great sword. To see how lethal your weapon is and to test its functionality according to its historic design, I will deliver 2 killing blows on this animal carcass. Scott, you're up. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it. I see the pigs, and I'm thinking, oh, crap. I've cut test against pigs, and they don't cut very easily at all. Oh, the moment Doug hits the pig and I hear that thud, I'm like, crap.
Scott, we have a little problem here. The hardness of your blade is a little bit on the flexible side. It did not even cut the carcass. So that brings into question also the sharpness of your edge.
I'm thinking we're pretty much done.
Congratulations. It will not kill.
This is a failure.
Jonathan, you're up. Are you ready?
Absolutely. I'm confident that I made a good blade. The blade is hard and it's ready to cut. This is going to be spectacular. Oh, boy.
Jonathan, we have a major blade malfunction. It did initially cut through, but then it probably hit the spine. It just exploded.
I'm not completely confident that I'm going to come out with the win here, but my blade cuts, and that's more than Scott's.
Jonathan, your blade suffered catastrophic failure. For safety reasons, we can no longer continue testing on your blade. Since both weapons have suffered malfunctions, Dave will now decide on the best course of action to move forward with the competition.
Dave.
In the Viking sagas, swords broke. In the Song of Roland, swords broke. But bent swords can be straightened. So we'd like to give you an opportunity, Scott, to straighten that weapon so we can take it forward into a sharpness test to help us determine our winner. So, Scott, why don't you take a moment and straighten your weapon?
Okay. That's as straight as it's going to get.
Now, not only was the claymore a battlefield intimidator, but it was also a Scottish symbol for physical prowess and strength. So what I'm going to do to test the edge of your blade is I am going to cut into this piece of sheet steel. So, Scott, are you ready?
Let's do it. I've got a 50-50 shot that it's going to do well. You know, I just want to see what happens.
I am desperate to win. This is $10,000 on the line here.
I don't even want to watch.
Well, Scott, there's actually still an edge here. We can see what it did to the steel.
Should have had the pig made out of steel. It probably would have cut better.
All in all, well done.
Thank you. Overall, I'm pleased. This was the first time I've ever made a blade of this size, of this complexity.
Gentlemen, this by far was our most difficult challenge to date. Congratulations, you both delivered your Scottish claymores. But there can only be one champion. Scott, congratulations, you are the Forged in Fire champion.
Thank you. Thanks.
Jonathan, unfortunately, your blade did not make the cut.
Jonathan, the design of your blade was really going in the right direction. Basically, once that blade snapped, there just wasn't anything else we could do to test that blade, so that's why we're letting you go.
Jonathan, please surrender your weapon.
It's a great pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
I'll be back. Absolutely proud of myself. With every failure, there's a great lesson learned, and I think I'm moving forward from here.
Scott, congratulations. You are the Forged in Fire champion, and you'll be receiving a check for $10,000. Good job.
I've never won anything in my life. This is the first time I've ever won anything. You try your best, and you learn from it, and then you do it again until you perfect it. I mean, even though the sword didn't do what I wanted, it's still, okay, I won. I'm certainly going to be buying drinks tonight.
Bladesmiths, you're probably wondering why there's 5 of you and only 4 anvils. That's because one of you will be eliminated before we even fire up the first forge. Up first is our qualifying test.
Ben? Bladesmiths, in this sudden elimination round, I'll be smashing your knives into these blocks of ice 10 times. Steve, you're up first. Are you ready?
Let's do it. It's W2. It had to be a chopper, so I tried to design for that. Got some weight up front that'll hopefully carry it through here. I think my blade will destroy that ice.
Well, Steve, we have a problem.
Yeah.
On the 10th strike, the knife broke. That's because if you look closely at this blade, you'll see that there's a brown section of the crack. The brown section was an old crack that happened probably in the quench. It's been there a while. It's actually rusted. The rest of the edge is still pretty sharp, but at the end of the day, it did break.
Steve, that's what we call a catastrophic blade failure, and you all know what that means. But it's not over yet. Each of your blades must survive all 10 ice block chops in order to move forward. You guys will be counting to 10 like you never have before in your life.
Well, Brian, you're up next. Are you ready?
Let's do it. This is the longest blade I've ever made. I put a maple handle on it. I don't think I'm nervous at all. I know that Steve's blade just broke, but I know my blade's solid.
Well, Brian, your edge held up perfectly. It's like it never even saw the ice. It's still like the minute you brought it in. Got a nice finish to it. It's got a great shape. Very well done.
Thank you.
Matt, you're up. You ready?
I'm ready. I used a piece of W2. I made it short, robust, strong, and I think it feels good in the hand, so I think it's gonna do well. I hope.
Nice.
Well, Matt, your knife held up very well. It's got a very thick edge. It's still sharp. It's still in one piece. Well done.
Thank you.
Tyler, you're up. You ready?
Swing it like you mean it. I made it out of W2. It may be the best blade that I've ever made, but I just hope mine holds up and I make it to 10.
Well, Tyler, this extreme curve that you have here made it so that as I was chopping the ice, I ended up hitting my knuckle on the ice instead of the blade. But it held up. The edge is still sharp. Well done.
Thanks.
Joey, you're up. You ready?
Let's get her done, brother. I've never made a competition chopper before, so I seen what one looked like and went out and did my best to recreate it. I'm really very nervous. I'm hoping it's going to do the job and survive through that chop.
Well, Joey, your edge held up perfectly. I like the shape of it, the weight of it. It's a great chopper. Did some damage on the ice. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Well, gentlemen, I don't think that any bladesmith is really prepared for the ice block chop and how devastating it can be. That being said, Steve, because your blade suffered a catastrophic weapons failure, I have to ask you to please leave the forge.
To get eliminated before getting to work in the forge is really, really disappointing. But hopefully this is just going to take me to the next level and being a better smith.
The arming sword. The arming sword was the sword of choice for medieval European knights during an era of advanced armor, when swords needed to penetrate both armor and flesh. The blade's point has a distinctive taper, allowing pinpoint thrusts into vulnerable areas on an enemy. A central fuller in the blade reduced its weight, making it a well-balanced and effective one-handed weapon. Wielded with a shield in the opposite hand, knights were protected as they delivered deadly blows, powerful enough to cleave a skull into. In 1429, French troops made a heroic counterattack at the Siege of Orleans, led by Joan of Arc, wielding the arming sword.
To test the lethality of your arming sword, I will deliver slashes and thrusts on these boar carcasses. John, you're up first. You ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this.
That hide is super thick. To get through that, you really need a very fine edge and not a lot of weight behind it. And I didn't build that.
All right, John, let's talk about your arming sword here. It's heavy. It did cut on some parts of the carcass, other parts it just bounced off. Thrusting-wise, though, it did what it was designed for. This will kill.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Drew, you're up. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this.
When I saw John's blade hit the carcass the first few times, it didn't really cut so great. So I'm worried about my sharpness on my blade. Oh, nice.
All right, Drew, this is a very sharp blade, a great thrusting blade, and I like how you put a counterbalance right here because all the weight is nicely distributed so where I can thrust and slash. Your blade, sir, will kill.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Bladesmiths, welcome to our strength test. One of my favorites, the ice block chop. And we supersized it. What I'm gonna do is take each of your swords, I'm gonna beat them repeatedly and viciously into this big chunk of ice. It's gonna test the overall construction of your sword as well as its edge-holding ability. Now, what your swords do to the ice is secondary compared to what the ice does to your swords. And John, you're up first. How you feeling, buddy?
Nervous.
Well, we're gonna do it anyways, huh?
Yeah.
Well, this is very heavy, very hard to control. Also, aside from having gaps in your shoulders here, you've got a pretty good bend in the blade, and that was there before I started. Not a lot of edge left, but you survived. Drew, how you feeling?
I'm ready.
Good, so am I.
Jay's tough on blades. Ice is tough on blades. It doesn't matter who's swinging on it. And I'm just praying at this point that nothing fails.
Drew, this is a beautiful sword.
Thank you.
Blade is still razor sharp, which is very impressive with an ice block chop. That being said, the ice block chop is meant to be brutal. It's meant to test the overall structural integrity of your sword from tip to pommel. Problem is, I'm holding your pommel in this hand instead of this hand. So that's an issue.
Yeah. Drew, your blade has suffered a catastrophic failure. I have to ask you to please leave the forge.
I'm sad that my blade failed, but I feel really good about the fact that I was able to make something completely outside of my wheelhouse. But none of that matters if the pommel comes flying off. If the functionality isn't there, the aesthetics really do not matter. I had a ton of fun. I would do it again in a second. I'm super excited to get back to the West Coast and just get back to work, chipping away at my custom orders.
John, congratulations. You're the next Forge and Fire champion. Good job.
Thanks.
You'll be receiving a check for $10,000. How do you feel?
I didn't want to win like that, but I feel pretty good. I made butter knives in the first round. I come back with a beast of an arming sword, and now I'm Forge and Fire champion.
Good job, brother.
When I get home, the first thing I'm doing is buying a present and get right back out to the shop and forge some more. It is only driving me to do it more.
Your final challenge is to forge a Marine Corps officer's sword, also known as a Mameluke. Since 1825, the Mameluke Sword has been awarded to U.S. Marines to recognize extraordinary service. This tradition began when the rulers of Tripoli bestowed this weapon upon Marine Lieutenant Presley O'Bannon for his bravery during the Battle of Derna. The weapon itself originates from the Ottoman Empire in Persia, with many similarities to the Persian shamshir. Featuring a thin blade, shallow curve, and its signature inward curved pommel, this deadly sword was ideal for cavalry and foot soldiers to deliver lethal slashes and thrusts on their enemy. This blade was so dangerous, legend had it that it was nearly unbreakable and could cut a person in two.
All right, Marines, welcome to the kill test. To find out what lethal damage your weapon will do, I'll take your weapon, deliver killing blows to this ballistics dummy. Trip, you're up first. You ready for this?
Get it, killer.
Hoorah.
Going into this kill test, man, I just hope that it performs better than the K-bar that I made.
Yikes.
Whoa! Holy moly!
All right, Trip. First up, the handle construction. It is comfortable. Your edge here is sharp. Even cutting through the skull, no issues at all. No chipping, no glinting. And when you thrust with this, it penetrates and cuts all the way out. Overall, sir, your weapon will kill.
All right, hoorah.
All right, Gene, you're next. You ready?
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
I'm pretty darn nervous. Well, I know my blade is sharp, but I don't know if it's strong enough to get through these tests. I'm really worried that at the end of this test, my sword's gonna look like a pretzel.
It bent it. All right, Gene. Your weapon picked up a warp right here, okay? Your handle, coupled with blood all over it, made it very slippery and hard to hold on to because it's blocky and smooth. And I lost my grip on it. That's a very dangerous thing to happen when you're trying to wield the weapon. But your edge is still sharp, your tip is still thrustable, and more importantly, it will kill.
That'll work.
All right, gentlemen, it's time for the strength test. So to test the overall construction of your blade and see if they're going to hold an edge, I'll be smashing into these pots. Now remember, this test is not about what your swords do to those pots. What those pots do to your swords. Trip, you're up. You ready?
Ready.
Okay.
These clay pots are thick, they're brutal. I mean, they'll send a shockwave down this blade. There's no telling what's gonna happen. Yep. Holy moly. Ah, dog.
Well, Trip, a few things before we get to the obvious. Your handle construction is very comfortable. Felt really good in my hand, felt like I could do a lot with it. But right there at the edge, there's that little brown spot. You got a micro crack on that edge.
Yeah.
So as soon as I hit that pot, it cut loose. I loved it, feel its shape and its look, but obvious problem.
All right, Trip, while I know any Marine could take that blade and still continue to fight, in this competition, your blade suffered a catastrophic failure after one strike on that vase. Jian, your blade only has to survive one strike on these pots.
The entire Marine Championship for Forged in Fire lies on one swing, and I've got a big old warp in my blade, so it's not over yet.
Nice job.
Jian, first off, you're in one piece. You picked up that bend earlier on, but you didn't pick up any more in this test. Strong blade, held up. Good job.
Thank you. All right, Trip, looks like Jian's blade held up. That means that you cannot move forward to represent the Marine Corps in our next challenge. Please leave the forge.
Super disappointed. There's really no way to tell that you have like any minor cracks or anything like that. So you just, hey, you find out when you test them. That's how we found out today. Get it, brother. Jian's gonna freaking bring home that Battle of the Branches Marine Corps anvil. He's winning it for the Marine Corps.
Jian, congratulations. You've won this competition, and that means that you're going to be moving forward into our Battle of the Branches final competition to represent the Marine Corps at the Marine Corps Anvil. And that's going to give you an opportunity to win a check for $50,000. Good job, brother. Thank you.
Holy cow. I did not see this coming. It's been a fun ride up until now, but now I got to represent the Marines. So now it's game on, and it's about to get real. Those other branch service members better look out.
The Chinese War Sword. Ooh. The Chinese War Sword was a traditional weapon of China's peasant armies, beginning with the Qing dynasty and continuing through the 20th century. Similar to the Baoshin, the War Sword is a massive two-handed cleaving sword that generates a tremendous amount of swinging power while slashing and chopping through opponents. With a frightening reputation as an instrument of decapitation, this blade vanquished enemies during the Boxer Rebellion and later during clashes with Japanese forces in the Second Sino-Japanese War.
All right, bladesmiths, welcome to the kill test. To find out what kind of lethal damage your weapon will do, I will take your Chinese War Sword and deliver one strike on this ram carcass. Let's see how deadly they are. Bobby, you're up first. You ready for this?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this.
My heart's just bouncing out of my chest. You've got the skin, you've got the bones, you've got the hide. I only get one shot at this ram carcass?
All right, Bobby, one and done. As much as this is very intimidating in its look, it is crafted nicely. It's got a beautiful look to its finish. The balance is just right for a two-handed sword. A little forward heavy, but it tells you that's where the power is. Your edge is sharp. Even cutting through the spine and bones, no issues, no glinting, no rolls. Overall, sir, your Chinese War Sword will kill.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Will, your turn. Ready?
Yes, sir, I'm ready.
Let's do this.
Doug picks up my weapon, and at this point, all the nerves are out the window. I'm just excited. He's walking towards this ram's carcass, and I'm ready to see it fly right through.
Good job, buddy.
Thank you.
Right, well, let's talk about your Chinese war sword here. First up, it's a very bulky handle. It's rounded. So as you get a good grip on it, you can feel it start to spread my hands around. But the wrapping that you put around it does allow me to get a good grip on it, so good on that. And one shot, one kill. Overall, sir, your weapon, it will kill.
Thank you, sir.
Ooh, I just felt a frightening chill. Must be the strength test. Jay?
You boys remember me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the ice block chop. This is going to test not only your edge and your heat treat, but the overall construction of your swords. Now, what your blades do to the ice, I'm not too concerned about. I want to see what the ice is going to do to your blades. Bobby, up first. How you feeling?
Ready to go.
Me too. Let's do it.
This is not just an ice block. This thing's a glacier.
Great job, Bobby. Still razor sharp. No rolls, no glints, nothing. Everything's still tight. I mean, one of the swings, I was able to split that block. So it's got good feel. Just nice job overall.
Thank you.
Okay, Will, how you feeling?
I'm nervous, but I'm excited.
Okay, well, I'm just excited, so.
This is gonna be brutal. I'm really worried about the crack in my tang right now. Chopping through a block that big is so tough. If there are any compromises in my blade, this is where they're gonna show their head.
Well, we got a problem, Will.
Big problem, sir.
Right where you did your very rough hollow grind, there's a couple dark spots right in here. And with that thin spot right there, it was enough to allow that blade to just snap right in half on the first swing. So, did not survive, but good effort.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Will, sometimes this competition is full of tough breaks, and you've had one on the first strike against this ice block in our strength test. Unfortunately, we cannot continue testing your blade against your opponents. And for that reason, I'd like to invite you to shake our hands, shake your opponent's hand, and then please leave the forge to your right. Come on, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Excellent work, dude.
Thank you, brother. It's tough. Having a blade break is obviously, it's a tremendous failure. But at the end of the day, I did the best I could with the tools I had, and I'm still proud of the piece that I put forward. This competition has given me the inspiration to move forward and challenge myself in new ways.
Bobby, you are the Forged and Fire champion, and that's the title that comes with a check for $10,000. Good job, brother. Come on forward, my friend. Great job, great work.
I feel on top of the world right now.
That's a great piece, man. That was fun to swing.
This is not just a win for me. This is a win for my family, my friends, the other smiths that I teach in the forge. This goes a long ways for our whole community.
The Zulu War Axe. The Zulu War Axe is a deadly and elegant weapon now used primarily for ceremonial purposes by the Zulu tribe in South Africa. Passed down from generation to generation, this weapon was effective against enemies, as well as serving as a symbol of political power and resistance to colonial rule. Featuring an elongated arrowhead shape that swelled in the center, this razor-sharp blade provided a way for officers to reach over their own formations to tear down and destroy enemy shields. The current king of the Zulu nation, Goodwill Swelithini, wields this weapon and marches to this day.
Your Zulu War Axe looked quite scary, but it's time to find out what kind of lethal damage they can do. To find that out, I will take your weapon, deliver some chops and slashes on this boar carcass. Dustin, you're up first. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'm feeling nervous, anxious. This is not going to be an easy test. I mean, this boar, it's got tough skin, bones, but I want to see this blade chop this boar in half.
Well done, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Dustin, let's talk about your Zulu War Axe. It's quite surprising that something this light, with not a lot of metal, can cut deep into this boar carcass. Your blade stayed true. The handle construction is ovoid enough to where, even though it tapers, I have a very good feel for it. Overall, sir, it will kill.
Thank you.
All right, Weston, your turn. So you ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this.
My first concern is the handle breaking. After that, it's that junction between the blade and the tang. I mean, it's a weak spot. Anything can happen there.
All right, Wes, let's talk about your Zulu War Axe here. What I find interesting here is that the design of this blade, there's a sweet spot in here with a little bit of weight, so that first swing alone cut in very deep. There are no glints or rolls on it. The handle construction is ovoid enough to where I get a good grip and I can get a good feel on it. And more importantly, sir, it will kill.
Thank you.
Bladesmiths, welcome to the strength test, the ammo box chop. I'm going to test the strength and durability of your axes by smashing them into these ammo boxes. Remember, this test is all about what those boxes do to your axes and not the other way around. Dustin, you're up first. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right.
I know I nailed my heat treat, but this test is brutal. And I just keep thinking, please survive, please survive.
Well, Dustin, got an obvious issue here. I'm looking at your grain in here. It's beautiful. It's nice and velvety, tight. But right here, there's a little dark spot, which was a crack. It happened right where the join of your tang and your blade is. And that little crack is a stress riser, and it leads to big failure.
Sure.
All right, Dustin, your blade has broke on the third strike against these ammo boxes in our strength test. Now, that doesn't mean that you're out of this competition. Your competitor still has to endure the same rigors. Weston, that means that your blade must survive 3 strikes against these ammo boxes. And if it does, you'll be the new Forge and Fire champion, taking home that check for 10 grand. You guys ready for this?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, Ben.
All right, Weston, how you feeling?
Nervous.
I would be too.
Clearly, this is not an easy test. And if Dustin's blade broke, there's a good chance mine will as well. I'm just hoping it can take 3 strikes.
Well, Weston, it held up. Nice job. This is a nice light axe, a lot of fun to swing. With every swing, I could feel the reverberation, just it kind of jiggling in my hands. It was singing. Really well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Weston, congratulations. Your blade held up. Dustin, that means that your blade doesn't make the cut. I'd like to invite you to shake our hands, shake your competitor's hand, and then exit the forge. Great job, man.
Thank you, sir. I'm pretty bummed out. I really wanted to win this whole thing. Weston, congratulations, bud.
Thank you. Good job.
But this has been one of the greatest experiences of my life. This is not the result I wanted, but at the end of the day, I'm here, I'm alive, I'm healthy, so I'm happy.
Weston, congratulations. You made a beautiful Zulu War Axe, and that makes you the Forged in Fire champion. That's a title that comes with a check for $10,000. Come forward and shake our hands, my friend.
I am the Forged in Fire champion, and I feel elated. I came here to prove that I could compete with some incredibly talented smiths, and I came out on top. It's been a blast.
The Nimcha.
The Nimcha is a single-handed scimitar, widely used throughout North Africa. This unique weapon featured a hooked handle, knuckle guard, and forward-pointing quillions that were designed as a defensive tool to catch an opponent's blade. Featuring a deep fuller on both sides, the sword was light, quick, and deadly on the battlefield. Largely made of recycled blades, the Nimcha could be forged quickly and in large quantities, and was a crucial weapon used by the Ottoman soldiers during the Great Siege of Malta in 1565.
Bladesmiths, welcome to the kill test. It's time to find out what kind of lethal damage your Nimchas will do. Well, I will take your weapon, deliver some lethal blows on this boar carcass. Ryan, you're up first. You ready for this?
Make some barbecue cut.
All right, let's try.
Seeing the boar carcass, I'm smiling from ear to ear. I wanted to see him cut a boar carcass in half with it. I know it's razor sharp.
All right, Ryan, I don't know what's a bigger beast, the boar carcass or your Nimcha right here. This is a heavy sword. Everything about the weight that you have on this allows for a very, very deep cut, but it's a lot of work because of the weight. It's very forward heavy, but overall, it will kill.
Thank you.
All right, Steve, your turn, sir. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this.
I'm excited. Ryan's blade cut well, so I know I've got some competition here. Mine better perform.
All right, Steve, let's talk about your Nimcha right here. First up, the handle construction. It's smooth. It's not blocky, so I like that you have an ovoid over there, and it marries in. Before I started testing, your blade had a little bit kick off to the side. But after the test, it stayed the same. Your edge, with a thinner profile like that, cuts deep. Also, it is a much lighter sword than your competitors. I can control with every slash. Overall, sir, your blade feels good. It will kill.
Thank you, sir.
Bladesmiths, welcome to the strength test. The pillar and pot chop. To test the strength and durability of your edge, as well as the overall construction of your Nimchas, I'll be chopping into these pots and pillars. Remember, this test is all about what the targets do to your blades, and not what your blades do to the target. Ryan, you're up first. You ready for this?
Tear it up.
All right, man.
I know I'm behind the 8-ball right now. I need to perform really well in the strengthness test. Hopefully, I'll pull back up into line with him and be evened up.
Well, Ryan, in the strength test, the edge that you have on here took a slight roll. Like, I can't see it so much as I can feel it. The rest of it is really wicked sharp. It's still all in one piece. Nice job.
Thank you.
Steve, you're up next. You ready for this?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool.
I feel pretty good. I think my blade cut a little better than Ryan's maybe, but he didn't have that cant and flaw in his blade, so I think I've got a blade that'll hold up to it.
Well, Steve, I got a problem, man. When I picked this sword up, I was excited. It's nice, light, got a good shape to it. But looking at your steel here, there's a really big grain in here. It really could have used more thermocycling, I'm guessing. I don't know how you heat treated this, but however you did, it ended up brittle.
Well, Steve, your blade has suffered a catastrophic failure during our strength test and can no longer continue with testing. Therefore, I'd like to invite you to shake our hands, shake your competitor's hand, and then please exit the forge.
Congratulations, buddy. I'm disappointed my blade broke. I didn't want to go out that way, but it is what it is. Thank you. I just must have got my heat treat wrong. Nobody's fault but my own. I didn't win the competition, but I gained so much more than I lost here. I'm gonna walk away here with my head held high, and it's gonna make me a better bladesmith for it. I've really learned a lot.
Ryan, congratulations. You are the Forge and Fire champion, and that is a title that comes with a check. Go ahead, you can smile. For $10,000, brother. Good job. Come on, man.
Thank you, sir.
Good job.
Thank you. It's not how I wanted to win this competition, but, you know, it is what it is. First thing I'm gonna do is hug and kiss my wife and love on the kids and play with them and get right back in the forge. There's no sleep for the wicked.